Hey everyone, Alex Maselli here, and we are back with another book club live stream. Joining me, as per usual, is Beverly.
Hello.
The dim whale, which you are the only woman I would ever know would be okay with someone calling her a whale.
As long as I'm calling myself it, then it's fine.
Yeah. I guess that's true. So we're talking about Moby Dick by Herman Melville, classic novel.
Boy.
Yeah, very long novel, very, very long. Most of it faffing about. And then
so I technically listened to this book.
You did.
I did. I did.
I'm surprised. You got through it.
A lot of opinions on this actually today. So
okay.
I took notes, and I struggled a lot paying attention while listening to it because of all of the ramblings. So then all the faffing about. So then I also was reading along with Spark Notes to just like, all right, here's this chapter. And then, which I think I might do for future audiobooks too, because I get distracted easily. And so if it helps me to just like focus on like, I know this chapter's about this thing here. I don't even remember what got me into the audiobook thing, but I just realized like, oh, I can try however it was, but I was like, I could do Pride and Prejudice for next month though. I can listen to that, and it's probably on LibriVox. So I found that, and I started doing it there and got it from there. And then I was like, well, I have like less than a week to do Moby Dick. I could try it. And then it was about 25 hours that I crammed in 4 days and listened at like 1.75x speed, because the guy, he was an okay narrator, but it was just like so slow. And I'm like, I just let's get this moving.
I know. My second read through about
I can't imagine doing it twice.
The second read through, I didn't get up to like 40. I was up to 46% of it by yesterday, and I was like, So then and that was at 2x speed. I was like, let's pump this up to 2.5, and then I got through all of it, and then I reread the last few chapters again today. So the second read was really fast for me, and but I know, like last weekend when I was doing yard work, I was listening to it as I was working, and I literally laughed out loud at this one joke that gets me every time. It's like, I think it's chapter 45. It's called The Affidavit. When Melville Melville regurgitated all of his whale and whaling research onto the page.
I noticed.
Yeah, which is why when they adapt it, often they cut
all of the non-plot parts of it, where it's just information about like facts about things that have nothing to do. Like cool, I could have had a sentence about this. I didn't need an entire chapter.
There's only like 15% of this book which is actual plot, and
that much.
I know, it's so short, which is why it adapts so easy into a movie, because there's hardly anything in this book that is actually plot. Most of it is his research, and one of them, that chapter that I was talking about is one of his research chapters, because it's about the fact that landsmen is what he calls them, non-whalers, have this idea that perhaps Ahab's being ridiculous, that a whale couldn't possibly be this dangerous. And then so Melville as Ishmael, which by the way, he also breaks his narration constantly throughout this novel. There's no way Ishmael knows or sees everything that is in this novel. Like, there's parts where we're getting internal monologue from like Starbuck. Not possible.
Yeah. The other whalers, sailor, like another too, and just like, yeah, I'm like, where was Ishmael during these conversations?
Exactly. He like forgets that he wrote this as, it literally starts with one of the most famous lines in literary history, to call me Ishmael. He literally forgets it's in first person perspective throughout most of the time. So then he goes, oopsie, like, and he goes back to it.
Serially, right? So
yes, it was.
Like, so then he was just like, I don't feel like writing it this way. Now I'm gonna just I'm just gonna talk about these other people, like whatever.
Like the
no one else will remember.
Yeah, the drama chapters wherein like it's literally just like dialogue, like you would see on a play.
How it's written too. I never
that
saw
is
like
how
the,
it's that
like,
is how
on
it's written.
Notes it said it was like theatrically, or that it was done, but I never saw like a PDF version of it or not, so I only listened to it.
But yeah, those chapters, there's several of them that are written pretty much like you were writing a play. So like I call those the theater chapters or the dramatist chapters, because they're not really narration at all. But like, so in the that chapter, the affidavit chapter, it's just a bunch of, it's Ishmael putting forth that whales are really this dangerous, which I find kind of hilarious, because it's like, is the idea that most people had in their minds that whales are like the weather?
I mean, even if they're like, hey, they're not like normally aggressive and they won't do, but they're like 50 tons of being that like may accidentally harm you, though, just like like a big dog or something too. Like, you need to be careful. Like, Luna doesn't know how big she is, so she's like injuring me and stuff. Like, so like stuff happens even if they're not like trying to be. That I would say that they can definitely be dangerous.
Yeah, there's like parts in that chapter where he's explaining that whales would sometimes turn around when being chased by whaling ships and ram the ship.
Yes,
like, oh my God, isn't that so surprising?
No, many animals, like, hey, I'll get to my complaints about whaling generally, but just that they're like, oh, what's it doing? Like, yes, because many animals, maybe most animals, when they feel under threat, will defend themselves. And that is so like, yeah, like, okay, and they're all mad about like the whales attacking these ships and things. Like, they're whaling ships, you're trying to attack them first, you're instigating this.
Yeah. Well, they're acting like whales are not capable of understanding that the whaling ship is attacking them or something. And it's like, of course they understand. They're not retarded. Like, they're like, we're not saying that they're geniuses, but they're smart enough to recognize that this thing is attacking me. I should take it out.
Especially, I bet more historically too, humans just did not consider the sentience of non-human animals though too, because like, again, I mean, maybe I'm misremembering, but I remember seeing like online when I was like 12 or whatever, of like, do cats and dogs have feelings? Do they or have personalities? Like, what the fuck? Of course they do. You don't need like study. Like, it's so simple. And then even for me though, like, I didn't really consider like farm animals and stuff like having like they're all going to be the same, but like bless you, they they can generally act similarly, but then some of them stand out so much more than like they each kind of have their own personality within their thing. So it's just like, yes, of course. And again, I guess like back then maybe they just really did not try at all to empathize with animals. But
I mean, I think part of it had to do with the fact that to landsmen, as like, because Melville's trying to correct their preconceptions about whales, but so it's not that Melville has a bad preconception about whales, like having this idea that I can defend myself against this stupid fucking whaling ship that's trying to kill me in my pod. But it's more that landsmen have literally never seen whales, and they're so large that they maybe conceptualize them like weather. And not actually like associating them with something like a dog that would also defend itself if attacked by humans.
I'd say, although I wouldn't say like, oh, like weather can't defend itself, but I will say weather is very destructive.
Yes.
So, like,
but This is my favorite joke from the whole novel, and it's in that chapter where he's trying to do this. He says, some 18 or 20 years ago, Commodore J, then commanding an American sloop of war of the first class, happened to be dining with a party of whaling captains on board a Nantucket ship in the harbor of Oahu, Sandwich Islands. Conversation turning upon whales, the Commodore was pleased to be skeptical touching the amazing strength ascribed to them by the professional gentlemen present. He peremptorily denied, for example, that any whale could so smite his stout sloop of war, remember, most ships then are made of wood, by the way, as to cause her to leak so much as a thimbleful. Very good, but there is more coming. Some weeks later, the Commodore set sail in his impregnable craft for Valparaiso, but he was stopped on the way by a portly sperm whale that begged a few moments' confidential business with him. Melville did not have to word it like that to make it like, ooh, sir, I must have a word with you about that. Yeah, that business consisted in fetching the Commodore's craft such a thwack that with all his pumps going, he made straight for the nearest port to heave down and repair. I love that so much. The idea that like just a few days later, the Commodore is proven wrong by a whale who took umbrage at the argument.
Yeah. I'd say like I recognized that like the things that were supposed to be humorous in it and that like the way, but it was so hard for me to get over the boringness of so much of the like here's just chapters of whatever information, like so much of just information rather than like the dramatic writing as in like the story itself though. I will say too, just right off the bat, I was like, oh, I always assumed this Herman Melville was British. So this was a British book. And I was like, sure talking about America a lot.
He's American.
This is known as a great American novel, huh? Okie dokie.
Well, and the thing is too, is that like I get it, like him regurgitating all his research is so annoying. It's like he's filling his serial commitments.
But he's just like, I think I read online because I was looking up a lot of stuff of other people who hated the book. But of like, you're just trying to reach a word count though too, that he's sending this in. They're like, okay, let me just fill it in with these facts then. I only had like 100 words for the story, but I'll tell you some whale facts. Harpoon.
Yeah. I know. There's so like you learn so much about whales and whaling in this. But to be fair, you learn a lot about what they thought of whales at the time.
I know. That's the other problem too. Like listening to this, like, well, how much of this is inaccurate now that like, I don't trust all of the science that the studies that they had. And
when I read this
or something.
Yeah. When I read this in grad school, it starts with the Satology chapter, where it goes over the science of whales. That's what cytology is. And he kept
I remember that. I remember talking about.
That's the very beginning of the book, and then he comes back to cytology stuff midway through the book. But like I remember like immediately being annoyed. I was like, why does he keep calling them fucking fish? Like they know they have blowholes. They literally talk about the blowholes throughout this novel. So it's like, like I'm like,
they have one of them though too, and they said there she blows, and I was like, oh, was that where that phrase actually came from? Was that like about whales specifically? Like I hadn't really thought about that as this was the origin of it, and that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and then like a big thing about this book being in serial is that it changes dramatically like once they're on the ship, because like all the chapters before that are written before he met Nathaniel Hawthorne, consequently, like without any like purpose to it, they were both on a walk but not together. And they ran across each other, and Hawthorne was like, oh, you've never heard of symbolism, you jackass. So then Melville's like,
and then Melville's like, well, now that I know this concept, let me just shove it in your face for like every single thing ever.
and literary people talk about the symbolism of the whale, and reading this book, having read this book, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think Melville really understood what Hawthorne was trying to get at here, because the whale is a symbol to Ahab, literally within the novel. Like, there's a part in which Ahab is talking about how the whale represents all the evil in the world to him. That is symbolism, but that is not literary symbolism. And I'm not even certain there is any literary symbolism in Moby Dick.
Which, I mean, it's fine, whatever. We'll get more into it later, but I was on the whale side the whole time.
I know. That was the thing too, is that like the one rational person on the whole ship is Starbuck, one of the mates. Mm-hmm. And he's in twofold ways. One, he's like, Ahab is he even calls Ahab's quest, like, he's like seeking revenge against a dumb beast is how he refers to it. And he's like, that's a crazy thing. Like, what are you, like, it didn't go out of its way to,
which I also think is hilarious too, that like any concept of someone who's just like, my arch nemesis, and the other one's just like, I'm just a whale doing whale things out in the ocean, la-di-da-di-da, like, look at you, we're such a, like, who's that guy? Like, I don't, have we met before? Yeah. Gonna keep being away. So I think it's also hilarious. Just everyone who's like, the moon, my worst enemy. Like,
like it's funny because like Starbuck in the three ways thinks Ahab's being crazy. One is that it's like that the idea that you're seeking revenge against something that has no sense of you, essentially. Mm-hmm. So why, like, this is not like some great like adversary.
Probably only took the leg because he was on a whaling ship trying to get it to begin with. Would it most likely have just left them alone if they didn't go and try and attack it?
Yeah,
probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. The second way is more supernatural, in that Starbuck keeps seeing things that he thinks portend their doom in this quest. And then the third way is from a fiduciary perspective. They're not really hunting whales when they start leaking the spermaceti that they're supposed to be getting for money. This is how everyone on this ship makes money. This is how the owners of the ship make money, and the people who own shares make money. And he's like, we need to go back to port to repair the leaks so we don't lose the spermaceti. Freaking Ahab is like, I don't care.
Yeah, crap about that. But then like, was it to keep up morale and stuff so all of the ship people weren't gonna turn on him? He's like, all right, yeah, we'll get this patched up real quick, and then we're off.
Yeah, exactly. But so Starbuck is the only like rational person on the ship.
The inspiration for the name of Starbucks coffee?
I don't know about that. I think he might be the inspiration of the call sign of the character on Battlestar Galactica.
See, the name Starbucks comes from a combination of inspiration from the novel Moby Dick, specifically the character first mate Starbuck, and old mining town names with co-founder Gordon Bowker, influenced by advertising theories that ST sounds were powerful.
Okay. So it is a reference to Moby Dick. But yeah, Starbuck is the only like rational person on the whole ship, and that's one of the reasons why Ahab puts that doubloon up. He says the first person who spots Moby Dick gets this gold.
Like later on, he's like, I did it. The gold coin
is mine. I know. He's such a selfish asshole. He's so awful. But yeah, like that's one way, because they're supposed to earn money through shares on what they pull in. That's the chapter that explains the lays that they get. The lays are like a share in the percentage of profit that the ship makes on a whaling expedition. And well, a gold doubloon is going to be worth more than most of their shares are going to give them, no matter what. So it's selfishness that lets them like side with him.
So getting back to generally of it being, I was already apprehensive about the book because it was published serially, because I was worried about when, not that that's always bad, you know, like I like manga and so like they could do, but I was worried about it potentially being like Peter Pan or what was the other one? Alice in Wonderland, where it's just like, is it going to be more vignette type things of like, here's this thing that's happening right now. Now we're moving over here, and they're just not really like as big
no through line. Yeah.
So then I was, oh my gosh, this was so much worse than I thought it was. And I just realized I wrote loquacious twice in my notes, also verbose. But it was just like, I get that the stuff, you know, back in the olden days, they wrote differently and stuff too. But I'm like, even for that, I think it was just excessive for because then I also started Pride and Prejudice too. I just started over because I read a third of it beforehand. I'm like, this is right off the bat way more entertaining.
Oh, I know. It's, first of all, the Pride and Prejudice is hilarious. It's one of the funniest books she's ever written. Secondly, the plot, like, it's much more connected, which is
but like
way better.
And then I was like, these chapters are so short, like in the audio, but it's only a few minutes long. I'm like, wow. But like plot just keeps happening within these 4 to 8 minute chapters, though. That,
I would say Jane Austen writes a better novel than Melville, 100%.
Oh my god, absolutely. Well, I'd say she writes a novel better. Like I one page that I read online too, that they're like, it's, you know, I would not even call it a novel. It's barely a book or whatever it was too. It's like, it's barely this, that you're just like, here's these things. And other people who enjoyed it, I think some of them were like, well, you know, I was a Marine, or like this is accurate to like being out at sea, and you're just really philosophical about a lot of stuff, and so they can relate to that. And other people are like, the writing itself is like, think of it more like poetically rather than like the story and stuff too. And I'm like, cool, good for you. But like, if I'm gonna read like a story, I want a story. I don't care how pretty it's written. I can be so big because I like scripts and stuff too, though. So like, I don't need it to be all flowery. I just want to know what happens and be entertained by like dialogue.
I do like good prose, though. I am a fan.
I know, and it's really fun. The other people, but like for me, I'm like, I barely can, unless like sometimes like the wit within the writing or like alliteration. It's like there are certain things that I can appreciate, but when I'm picky about, like, there's most prose I don't care about. Some of it can be well done that I'll appreciate, and most of it, like, I don't care. I just want it. I want the subject. I want the meat of it, and I care about that. I love meat. Many chapters felt more informational than dramatic. Nazi whales. Oh yeah, I put that in the Discord as a band name, but it was just hearing it. I think it was saying like NOTSEE, like not you want, or you will not see whales. I forget the full phrasing, but then I just heard like Nazi whales, like band name.
I did look something up before this because there's one of the most famous passages from this, especially among literary fans and everything, because especially with progressives, because it sounds gay as hell, and honestly it's kind of gay.
Is it about them sleeping in bed together and being married and how close they are?
There is that part, but okay. No.
I thought that was a little gay.
That was pretty gay too. Yeah, that's at the beginning of the novel. It's actually but like I looked it up because I was like, okay, it's a sperm whale. It's called spermaceti. When were people calling semen sperm? Like males, when were they calling male, like human male semen sperm? And I was like, 1400s. And I was like, so Melville knew that sperm meant like seminal fluid, you know, this like, and
then when you were saying semen, I'm like, yeah, they are semen. They're out in the sea and men.
But yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, definitely everyone then associate, and in fact the association of calling it spermaceti and sperm actually comes from male human seminal fluid, because sailors thought that spermaceti was whale sperm, as in it's reproductive.
I was also wondering too, but I'm like, if it was when they were explaining where it was located in the
it's in the head.
I was like, okay, probably not.
But it looks, it's very look wise, viscosity, it looks like male semen. So that's what one of the associations. And I'm like, that's so, and I was like, they use this stuff all over their faces and things. I'm like, I'm like, you guys thought this was like whale sperm?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
A lot more open. People get more uppity about things like that. I'm like, oh, you're drinking milk, like you're like sucking on a cow's udder, basically. And so I guess I can see where like maybe it was normalized that like, yeah, you just use different body parts of animal, which actually I appreciate, because that is one of my big issue. It was a take with it too, is that they talk about the parts where like, oh, the whales, they couldn't carry them. Also, a lot of times, I don't remember how much was in the book and how much I just also looked up to, but like how much wasted, or no, it was eating it. They're like, oh, what did Ishmael was he the one saying that it's kind of weird to like eat the whale too, though, because it's like picking your teeth with a goose feather after eating some goose meat. Like, no, if you're gonna kill it, use everything. Like, don't waste it. Like, don't make its death. Like, well, I'll just use a little bitty part of it or something.
I know.
Like, no,
like Stubb is the only one who eats any of it, and it's crazy to me.
It's so wasteful, and that's what I am not fully against whaling. Like Inuit people and stuff like do it, but like if it's not in mass amounts and I think they do it in a less like, oh, we're just like, they eat it, they try and use the stuff to like to live and survive and things, though, so I can respect that more. You're not annihilating the entire population, which even Ishmael was saying too, that like I don't believe like whales are like amazing majestic beasts and can handle anything, and that whaling them is not causing them to affect the population or anything. And I was like, oh,
you were so wrong about that. And especially the right whale, it gets
the right whale.
Yeah, it gets its name from the fact that it was perfect for whaling. Like it literally was the best whale for whaling. That's how it gets its name, the right whale. As in, this is the right one. And we almost hunted those to extinction. Like it was so fucking close.
Yes, there's still only like less than 400 of them left out there.
God. Too. The part where they talk about the guy standing like up high and like just shooting narwhals, I was like, God damn it, you know how many of those are left in the world?
I know, yeah. This book was just infuriating. And I was so mad. And I'm texting, when I was telling the Ginger about it, a friend of ours in Chicago, I guess during COVID times, he was reading the book himself, and he was really struggling with getting through it because he found it very boring. And so then, and apparently, but he's like, did I cut out or did you cut out?
I don't think anyone cut out.
I don't know. All right, I hear you again, but you're frozen. Yeah, for me.
Okay.
Okay, now you're back. Okay, so I don't know which one of us it was, but he was like hating having to read it, but he wanted to finish this, and he's just like, I can't. And the Ginger was like, so finishing Moby Dick is your Moby Dick? Like, but I have to do, and I felt that way too, that I'm like, no, I've committed, I've already spent this much time, I need to finish this book. And it was, so then I texted him too, and was like venting to him about it, and then complaining about like all the damage to whales that they did do, and he was just like, wow, you're way more invested in this than I was, though. And I'm like, it upsets me.
Like, I don't have a problem with hunting, like, or even commercial hunting. Like, I do not have a problem with any of that. What I have a problem with is the idea of not making sure you don't kill them to extinction.
Which is what, like, the few regulations I'm okay with, like, oh, when it's deer season, so now like, hey, but we're being careful that we're trying to hunt, like we're not going to go too much that they were going to go extinct, though, so that they're like, okay, you can hunt, but I still hate if you're wasting it, like any parts of it, that like use as much as you can. And if you're going to do it, though, we need to be careful of like, you can hunt during this time, and then we have to let them repopulate, and we're careful of keeping track of that. Like, I'm so on board with whatever types of company businesses and stuff out there, like even if they're government related, of trying to ensure that like, hey, we're wanting to not make things go extinct. And like even trees, when you get trees, like, okay, you don't cut everything down and you replant as you go along, so that way we keep things going.
From a business perspective, it's self-preservation, because you do not have an industry if you've killed your industry.
Like, yep, now we're out of the job because we got rid of everything.
Yeah, and like from the perspective of a predator species, which we are, predator species, most of them are not aware enough to understand that, oh, we can't kill too many because
but nature helps balance things out where they don't do that. And so if you tip the scales, I've seen it in Wild Thornberry's cartoon, like when Eliza gives the one birds like tools to help, like, oh, we can get more maggots and stuff in the trees, and then they're fat, and then the population of other, like, everything gets messed up in the ecosystem because of it.
Yeah, well, and there'll be a negative correction in the ecology when that happens. The problem is that human beings are self-aware enough to count the number of whales there are. So like we can count those whales and understand that if we kill them all, we won't have any more whales to hunt. Like we're smart enough to do that, which is why we should, just for our own sake. Like like I don't even have to argue from the perspective of like, well, I don't want whales to be extinct. That's true, I don't. But from the perspective of if you value your industry of whaling, you won't hunt them to extinction.
I mean, I'm pretty glad that we found alternatives that are not only cheaper but safer and less harmful to animals. Like I'm okay that like I get that business industries and like a lot of the, especially animals, that like, oh, there wouldn't be as many cows if we didn't blah blah blah, like for leather and stuff too. But I just personally am like, use the leather if you're also going to eat the meat. Like again, I don't want just the leather and then you waste like make sure even if it's not humans eating it, it gets fed back to other animals or something. Just I hate the way, which is why I get ground turkey. We're doing that because it's like leaner, and so it's. But I get the mechanically processed or whatever it is that they. So it's which takes other body parts and stuff too, and like grounds it all together. And yeah, it's cheaper, but I'm also like, yeah, but whatever these things, they're not being wasted. That like the other meat stuff too, that like it all like ends up tasting the same. So like even though it's more processed with other organs and things inside it, that one I was like, but I appreciate eating more of it and not just letting stuff go to waste.
Well, some of the organs in animals that we're like not eating, like the liver and the gallbladder and stuff like that, they're filled with nutrients, like jam packed with nutrients. And yeah, they don't necessarily taste the best. Like I got cow kidney once, I got cow heart, I got liver and everything, and like I'm like
understandably tough. The muscle that works forever.
I know. It was like eating a chewy steak. It was very weird. But I understand that. Oh, they're honestly, the kidneys were not delicious at all.
Yeah, and so that you might. But when everything's ground up and mixed together, though, then like, hey, this is fine. Like it all tastes the same, and like that's a great way to not waste it. And you're not like, oh, I'm eating.
Now there's a huge like supplement, like industry using liver, kidney, and heart. Like they like ground it up and put it in like little capsules that you can take to get all those nutrients. Okay. So it's like a natural source of like iron and stuff. You can just, so like one of the brands is Liver King, and people were like, bullshit, that guy's not on steroids. Spoiler alert, he was totally on steroids.
Yeah. Anywho, so like I'm not against it as a concept, but I just like how they went about it back then and not understand the execution was bad.
Well, as our population increased and people like when there were less people in the world, our unbounded murder of wildlife was not as big a deal, honestly, because there weren't a lot of us. But then when we started just like industrializing our murder of all the other animals, it became kind of an issue. Like we never had a count before. Well, we do now.
Talk about it in other streams. I'm just not very concerned about the human population. That like we used to be so few, and it was fine. We're at 8 to 9 billion. That like, okay, I think that even if we kind of go like, yes, I get that infrastructure, like that government wise and all that, like might hurt us though, but like I don't think the species is gonna go extinct anytime soon.
I think they're applying the same fallacy that businesses often apply, the idea of infinite growth. So for example, like businesses will look at, like other video game developers, for example, will look at Rockstar Gaming as having made the most money-making piece of entertainment of all time in GTA Online, and think that they could also reach that height. And there's this idea that people say that, like, oh, like we need more players and more players and more players, or, you know, pick your industry, we need more customers and more customers and more customers. Well, there's not an infinite amount of growth there. First of all, there are some people who will literally never be your customer ever. Mm-hmm. And there is a finite number of human beings on the planet. And so I think to some extent, the people who are afraid that our population is going down too much are almost of this idea that there should be infinite growth in the population. And it's like, I don't think that's possible.
Wild to me. That just sounds like such a bad idea. There's only so much planet there. Like, so we already have countries where they're like, okay, well, this is where you are in your country, Japan, but you're just going to keep up. So now you're going vertically instead. Otherwise, it'll go back to like, hey, let's go and conquer other lands and stuff, though. And you know, things might be a little bit better, like a lot of unused land out there that might be more usable if it warmed up a little bit.
Yeah, I know. That's the part that those jackasses who don't understand that. Like that, yeah, if Siberia was warmer, more people would live there.
Mm-hmm. But whatever. Anywho, I guess I already talked about this before, but I liked how Ahab really wants Moby Dick and dedicates his life toward it, while Moby Dick is like, I'm just a whale doing whale things in the ocean. But sorry,
it takes us so long to see Moby Dick too. Like
I know.
We hear about him and they talk about him so much, and then he shows up and I'm like, he is just a whale. He's literally just a whale. There's nothing special about him.
And it's so like, I don't think there's anything supernatural about it. And even if there were, cool. Why would you want to kill something that's just like, here's this supernatural, gigantic whale being out there, though? Like, leave it be. Like, let it be this cool supernatural thing. Or if you think it is that way too, probably don't want to try and kill it as a normal human and stuff out in the middle of it. Just so many bad decisions. Like, no matter like,
you gotta remember, they do say Ahab is insane. Like that. Like Ishmael really says that. Oh, that. Coming back with his out his leg.
And Ahab acknowledges himself too. Like, he's aware that he is insane. He's like, but this is fate. I gotta do it.
I know. Okay. And it's like, it's not fate, it's obsession. I mean, there's arguments over whether or not like Ahab is literally going after the personification of evil or whatever. And it's like, I don't think he is. I think he's just nuts.
He's flirting so much. Yeah, no, he's definitely nuts. So slow with a lot of rambling. Oh my gosh, yeah, it was just such meandering rambling throughout this whole thing. Was It mentioned natives of the Manilas, and I was like, Philippines. Was this all? Oh, something in Spark Notes where it was saying, like, you know, that Ishmael's an unreliable narrator, but in Spark Notes it like directly mentioned that he was like making up everything. So I was confused.
They're giving Melville too much credit for that.
Was he that? I'm like, is he supposed to be that? And I was going to be pissed if it was that. Like, is Ishmael just writing this down and just making it all up? And then he's also, even in there, he's like, well, you know, it's going to be hard to believe, but I hope the readers, like, I'll try and say this in a way that is believable. I'm like, it's so boring that it is hard to believe. Like, if you as a character, Ishmael, are like, I'm going to make up this crazy adventure, and that is the best you can come up with. I'm like, please, it has to be real. But you're a crazy one too. I
think Spark Notes is giving him too much credit, because as I said earlier this stream, there are times when Melville forgets that Ishmael is supposed to be writing the story. I don't think that it's Ishmael is making up these chapters. I think Melville just literally fucking forgot that he was writing this in the first person.
So concerned. I'm like, are you life of pieing us right now? As if this is just like I'm gonna lose it. Really upset with this book. Hard to side with humans. I'm mad about killing whales. Yep. The town. I kept talking about the town ho. Like, because you say herd, tea at the town home.
I know.
It was hilarious every time. That and what was it? They have the Gay Bachelor. It was like the name of the ship was the Bachelor, and but every time it was referenced, it was the Gay Bachelor. And I'm like, what?
Happy and fun. They were having a blast. And I think those are the only like most like allegorical parts actually are the other ships that they run into. Like the Virgin has absolutely no spermaceti on it. Like it is so it's pure. It has been failing in its duties. Whereas the Bachelor, the Gay Bachelor, has so much spermaceti. They don't even have like water or food essentially, and they're just partying. They're like, we're flush with cash.
Yeah. But it was just every time. I think it was never said as the Bachelor. It was always the Gay Bachelor. And I get the meaning of it, but I just thought it was still funny that it always just had to have that adjective there. Back with the killing thing real quick of whales. I'm fine if it's for some amount of use, like you're using for purpose. Just generally killing animals, I don't like it for sport. Not a fan, and I don't, because I know people like, oh, we're gonna go out here and to this big game hunting, but it's just for sport. Like if you're gonna kill it, eat it. You bet. Like I will make you eat it. Oh.
You would shove their face in.
Yeah.
You eat that fucking antelope.
Like, oh, you put the skull up on the wall. Like, what did you do with the rest of it? Like, is it just a waste? I hate it. I hate it so much.
My mom used to hunt, and she got a deer one year, which if you get a deer, your chances of being pulled for the lottery for hunting again is like super low. And she did mount its head and everything, but then we had to buy a chest freezer for all the rest of the meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was just the meat
that you kept, or that you
the rest went to other people.
Yeah,
like
it happens a lot too, so it's fine to keep. I just don't like it like if you're only doing it for sport and only doing it for like here's the what's it called, the
trophy.
Thank you. I was like statue. Too. I could picture it. I just couldn't think of the word. But yeah, so not just a trophy, but like doing something with it. Again, even if it's like to feed other people or animals and stuff too, that's better than just killing it for the sake of the trophy. Is the whale supposed to be an allegory? Is it just supposed to be evil or just a whale? Okay, yeah. Because just online, there were so many things of people like, well, they're interpreting it this way, they're interpreting that, and I was like, even the whale to me just never really seemed that like giving effort into, like, it just seemed this whale exists and it's being attacked, it feels threatened, it's gonna defend itself. Like, yeah, take out that shit. Which I even wrote that too later on though, because I had no idea how it was gonna end. I've seen more like imitations of like the care of Ahab and or like the effective thing of like, this is Ahab and this is his Moby Dick and stuff too, and like how like they kill it, but then he has to let it go. He wants to just show that this is real, and then they need to, I can't remember what movie or show that was, but so I've seen stuff like that. My dad also referenced the Star Trek episode that had the actor who plays Seth Hazlitt in Murder, She Wrote, how like a planet had eaten his crew or something though, so he wanted vengeance on the entire planet, so it was taken from that. But I just I felt like just a whale existing.
Yeah, so like I said, like he learned symbolism from Hawthorne in that walk, but I honestly don't think that the whale actually has literary symbolism. I don't think it represents anything.
No, but it was just a symbol to Ahab, that it was important.
Yeah.
Like he viewed it as that, but it was just a whale, which I wrote down. Oh, so they don't kill Moby Dick. Hooray! I assume. I was pretty jazzed that Moby Dick was just like, nope, I'm more powerful than the ship and crew. And I'm just like, all right, annihilate. Bye. Like,
I felt sorry for some of the people, the Starbuck most of all.
Yeah. I felt bad for a lot of the crew, because the crew member were they like that they weren't even after Moby Dick. They were there like, we are here for a job. But then we have this crazy captain that we're stuck on the ship, and that like, I mean, they should have mutinied, and so that they would have survived and stuff. But I mean,
if Starbuck had killed Ahab like he was considering,
Yeah,
when
thanks.
I would have been fine with that. Honestly, I was like, do it, Starbuck, do it. I know how this book ends, but I every time.
I wouldn't, because like it's a self-defense at this point, that like I get that like it's a loose thing, but I've talked about how I'm more okay with like kind of iffy type of self-defense like that too, where like your lives are under threat, because if you do this, like even Ahab knows this is futile. We are not going to win, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I have to. Like, okay, well the rest of us didn't sign up for this. Like I didn't want to die here. So,
and I love that scene too, because I'm pretty sure Melville, this is one point where I give him more credit. I think he's referencing the scene from Hamlet where Hamlet is trying to decide whether or not to just kill his uncle right in front of him when his uncle is praying, because he has an internal monologue about whether or not he should do it in that moment. And that's kind of what we get from Starbuck. We get his internal monologue over what he should, another sequence wherein there's no fucking way that Ishmael would have known. And I love that chapter. I think it's one of the better chapters. But yeah, I really wish Starbuck had just killed him.
Yeah, I mean, you're not missing out on much as far as like, well, the rest of the plot wouldn't happen. But yes, there really wasn't like it would have been the same kind of story. The rest of it were like he died, and then we stopped hunting Moby Dick, and then we went home, and then we got money, and then like, yep, okay, that's fine. I think that would have been a better ending anyway, though. Like Moby Dick survives, and the rest of the people survive, and
but Ahab's obsession got everyone killed.
Yeah. 105 population likely not in danger. And then I wrote down 300 that there used to be like over 1 million that they estimated for whales out there, but now it's like 300 to 360,000 left. Some estimate that it used to be as high as 2 million and now as low as 100K. But yeah, so there's just they really whaled a lot out there.
Yeah, they did.
I thought it was funny where it said jerk him off. I think there's was his name Tahiti or something. I didn't really catch it, but I just heard him say like jerk him off.
Tashtigo, I think is who you're referring to.
I don't know, because I thought like, but it didn't sound like that though. Like I thought Tashtigo was in it, but then like I remember that character's name and I'd hear it, but I could have sworn it sounded like Tahiti.
Well, there's 3 of them. There's the 3 harpooners who have like different like ethnic names. Mm-hmm. I feel bad for Queequeg too. Like everyone likes Queequeg. Yeah. And he dies.
Cannibal
dies.
Yeah. Cannibal. I love cannibals.
And God is Ishmael's so tolerant of other religions.
He is. But he's also just such a passive character throughout. Because it's interesting because I just generally knew like, Ahab and Moby Dick, like those are the ones that. But then, and even though I knew the line "Call me Ishmael," like okay, that'd be first person. I just never really thought about him as a person character before though, because it was always Ahab and Moby Dick. And then once I thought about it, I was like, wait, what did Ishmael have to do with any of this? And like, to just exist there and just to be there to watch tell the story, like he just did not matter at all.
And he doesn't pop up again until the epilogue. Like he disappears for quite some time, and then he's in the epilogue, and he's like, "Hey, I survived." And and in one of the serials that it was published in, I can't remember. It was like one of the national newspapers. It might have been the British version. They didn't publish the epilogue, and readers were like, "What the hell happened to Ishmael? He was writing this. Where is he?"
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's like, well, that's what the epilogue is there.
He just writes it as the ship sinks, and there you have it, readers.
He floats on Queequeg's coffin.
I know, yeah. Which in the audiobook, the guy reads it, which I always knew as buoy, and then he pronounced it boy, the life. I just say, all right, the life boy. And I was like, is that? And I looked it up. Apparently that is just another pronunciation of it. And I hate it. I hate let me go float on this life boy. Come on, boy. Hop on the life boy.
That's terrible.
Buoy. I thought it was funny too, because they kept saying it had like starboard and larboard.
Yeah, the old version.
Treasure Island, they were saying it too. They have like larboard, luff, and stuff. And larboard is now port.
Yep.
And then, but I was interesting that, and I don't know, I didn't look into the etymology of why they changed, but I also think it makes sense that you want something to sound pretty different, because then if you're hard to hear and stuff too, like, did he say starboard or larboard? Like, maybe we shouldn't have had, like,
the fact that they rhyme is a problem, because exactly, like, and the same thing is true in the military. Like, they used to have words that were like mirrors, and they're like, but when it's hard to hear, it doesn't help. Yeah. So we have to differentiate them. And definitely on a ship, that's very important.
And then port, I always remember which one's which, because port, I don't know, maybe my dad had taught it to me, like, it's 4 letters long, left is 4 letters long, so that's how I always think port is left, starboard is right, bow, stern, I don't know, you just have to memorize that. Hearse vehicle, whale is a vehicle. Oh yeah, when they were talking about, like, oh, the hearse is now the whale because what's his name, Fallet, whatever the guy's name was, that was the prophecy thing, and then he was like, I'm going to, like, here's the hearse, and Ahab was like, well, where are we gonna get a hearse out here? But then the whale, Moby Dick, was the hearse because he was, like, tied to it and stuff. But it reminded me of Whales on Wheels, which in my D&D game they made, because they had trains. They made the trains, but then they also needed ways out with the little islands and stuff, though. And I think they had a point like, we'll just get a whale out here that you can ride on out there. So they're like, Whales on Wheels, I think is what they called it. That's idea. Funny. So I'm like, yeah, a whale is a vehicle, according to the D&D game. Spark Notes, is it really? Oh, and Spark Notes, it mentioned, it was something about how, like, Ahab knowing he'll die, but, like, still going through with it anyway. And but it used, like, a phrase of, like, a heroic something, like, it shows that heroic of blah 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 of this. And I was like, is it really heroic of Ahab to know he'll die, but to also just let his entire crew die? Like, that's not. And it was heroic and stuff of legend or something, though. And I was just like, no. And but, like, it's not suicide, though, because he was still trying. And, like, I get it that, like, I think you can still do your best and it's self-destruction. Yeah, like, even though you know it, you can still attempt to do it, even if you think it's futile and stuff, though. Like, I wouldn't say it's like suicide in the same sense, but I was just like, that's definitely not heroic. And again, you're going after this innocent whale that's just trying to be a whale.
Yeah, honestly, I do think it's just a whale. Like fully, it's just a whale. It's a weird looking whale, but it's just a whale.
Yeah.
And
what you get,
and it's very good at defending itself.
Whale. We had that albino deer here, and I guess it has been around now, but when we got here, people would always talk about it, and they think, like, no one hunted it because it was an albino deer and it was super cool, and so, like, people, like, wouldn't kill it. And I imagine either someone did or it just, like, died after however many years, but I think it'd been around for, like, several years. But yeah, like, so it's just, so that's also crazy to me to think, like, here are these people, like, here's this majestic, like, they're already giant creatures, and this one is special because it looks this way. Let's kill it, destroy it.
That's why he has to have that chapter where he goes over when is white not pure. And
like white is evil. White is evil.
Yeah, okay. That chapter. He lists all the positive things that white represents, and then he's like, it's also, I guess, the color of sickliness and otherworldliness. Like, he has to reach really deep to find when white is bad, because there are way more symbols of white being good than there are of white being bad. 100%. It's like it's heavily on the good side.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. I knew Ahab was the one who wanted to talk about that. Turns out Schmidt's pretty passive. Why is it Moby Dick with a hyphen as a title, and then in the book itself, like, he's just referred to as Moby Space Dick the whole time? But so why does the title have a hyphen?
I don't know. I don't put the hyphen when I do it. I don't know why some versions have that hyphen in there. It's weird to me. And I would think it was an editorial decision, not Melville's.
Okay.
Because if the actual prose has no hyphen, but the title does, I'm putting that on the editor.
Okay. So I didn't really read too much. I just glanced at it, though, but we talked about it before, that Moby Dick why did they use Dick? And like, oh, they used just like Tom, Dick, or Harry type of things though. And then this character Moby Dick was named after a real whale, Mocha Dick. But the whole story itself like was inspired by the Essex ship that was trying to chase after Mocha Dick. But I think as far as the little I'd read that they, the ship got destroyed, they were marooned, and then the people became cannibals too to survive though. And I was just like, the based on part of this story is so much more interesting than what the fictional story was. So I need to read more on it, but I was just like, why did you make it so much more boring?
I know, and think of it like this is the part that's even crazier, is that Melville was an adventure author. Mm-hmm. Like, he wrote adventures to entertain. And this is one of the things that kind of pisses me off about how people talk about the classics. Is like, oh, this book is so important, it's so classic. And they talk about Moby Dick, and they never mention all the faffing about. They never mention all the comedy in it. They're always just like, oh, this one man's obsession to kill this whale that costs everyone on his crew their lives and everything. And it's like, this is big thing, and going after otherworldly evil or whatever. And I'm like, you guys are selling this novel in a completely different way than what it is.
Yeah.
And like 100%. And I feel that way about a lot of classic literature. I feel like I've read a lot of classic literature at this point, and almost like a lot of the French lately. I've been reading a lot of those, and most of them are trying to be entertaining. They're not trying to make some serious point about life. The majority of classic literature was famous in its time and was entertaining, because to be successful, you have to be entertaining. So like maybe Moby Dick is not an entertaining read for the modern audience for the most part, because one thing, we're not used to prose like this. Mm-hmm. We're not used to serial novels. Like, that's not a thing anymore. But like, people would like, oh, I'm getting the next periodical that Moby Dick is coming out in. I'm following Moby Dick, in the same way that people would like, oh, I'm getting the next Shonen Jump kind of thing.
The next episode of this show is coming out. The next, like, exactly. So like, I get that. That's it. That's why I'm not against that full, but it depends on what the story is of, like, well, and even in serial stuff too, like Naruto and stuff and Shonen Jump, like, well, here's a lot of just kind of, it went on for a long time instead of building up. Like, they could have been shorter, but you made it serial, so it extended it, and it didn't need to be. And sometimes I do love having, like, shows like you really get to sit in and see a lot more. Like, I don't want things to go too quickly, but I also don't want things to drag on forever.
I know a lot. That is the problem with the serial. The serial has a lot of filler involved to extend it. And the thing, but my point is that, like, so that when people talk about the classics, especially people who like teach it and stuff and like want to seem superior, is that they treat most of these classics like they're some great like serious endeavor. When you go to read them, you're like, they're not, though. Very few of them are like that. Like maybe Proust or Henry James. And even Henry James was attempting to be entertaining. I don't think he was, but but he was a horror author, essentially. Like he was trying to write ghost stories. So like even the ones I don't find were who were more on the serious side, they're still trying to be entertaining. So to me, this idea that, it's this great serious thing that we have to write papers on and have all this thought about it. It's like, you guys are not representing these as they actually are. Like, Proust is this way. Yes, I agree with you when you talk about Proust like this, because I don't want to read several thousand words on him drinking tea and eating a Madeleine cookie.
Cookie.
Yeah, like that Swan's Way is about perception and memory. There is no plot.
I can't do stuff without plot. I guess if it like fakes if it's like, here's the thing, like, here's just like an essay or something, like this is just information, like, and you're learning about this, or like maybe that I can get that. But if you're coming off as like, this is supposed to be a story, I need a plot though, or else I'm just like, I'm gonna hate it.
I know. Swann's Way is not even attempting. Like, there's no, like, if you start reading that, you're like, no, there's nothing here. It's just going to go on like this descriptive language forever. So he wants you to take him seriously, essentially, is what it is.
When I was telling my dad about this yesterday, I said that, speaking of having trouble making it through something, because we were talking about Tremors movie, he was about the sequel movies, because he watched them. I said, I'm listening to Moby Dick for your book club, and I said, like, and it's super boring, and he said, yeah, it's not that good. That's what makes it a classic.
That's the thing that kind of pissed me off in grad school, is that like the same teachers that taught me my literature classes also taught my creative writing classes. Like, there was a lot of overlap between the two of them. And so like one of my fiction professors was the teacher who did the American short story and the American novel, where I read Moby Dick for the first time. And Melville's other like really big hit, Bartleby the Scrivener, which is actually really enjoyable read. It's very short. And then you get to tease people every time they ask you a question. I would prefer not to. But she taught those classes, and then she also taught fiction. And she was so, I don't know, like there's a disconnect in academia, even though these are the same people, like, who don't understand that like something like Melville's faffing about is completely allowed, but you're not allowed to do that. Like, you're not allowed to have as much fun as Barth. And I'm like, how are you teaching me this literature that is not necessarily super genre focused, but also not as serious as you would want me to be?
And why do you have to be serious?
I know.
I feel like a lot. I mean, if writing wasn't supposed to be just informational, of like, let's take down facts and history or something, though, shouldn't it be entertaining? And I feel like that's probably what a lot of them are trying to do, is that like in some amount, not necessarily ha entertaining, but just like something of.
They're trying to scare you. They're trying to make you laugh. They're trying to make you cry. They're trying to make you feel
something.
Yeah. And a lot of writers are like, also like, maybe I can try this. They experiment and stuff. But like, damn, do those teachers they're like, no, you got to write about like a couple getting divorced and really dry diet, like prose. And I'm like, what? Like, why is this so, or like, you got to write about someone trying to get to a funeral. And I was like, everyone's writing the same fucking story then. And it all sounds the same. And literally, there were times when I was confusing my peers' writing.
Oh yeah,
because they were all writing the same thing in the same kind of dialogue, the same kind of prose. And I was like, this is impossible. Like, how am I supposed to feel anything when it's all the same? And there was like one student who wrote a story where a couple gives birth to an octopus, and like it's taken seriously, like, oh, I guess this is our baby. And I was like, I will remember that until my dying day, because it's at least something different. And it was very entertaining versus
I mean, you've talked about it before.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was memorable. Like, exactly. I remember you talking about it.
So to me, I'm sort of like, don't, like, this disconnect between their teaching of literature versus their teaching of writing is really frustrating to me. It was one of the reasons why I was like, okay with not getting my MFA. And I was like, I'm going to hear more of this bullshit. Like, I don't think I can handle it.
What was I going to say? I got distracted by Bartleby because I'm like, that sounds really familiar, but I don't know if it was just the book itself, or the short story itself, or if something else. I feel like a character in some show must have been named Bartleby, and then
probably, and it was
referencing this, and so I had to look it up because I'm like, I don't get the reference. What was I going to say about Moby Dick? I was wondering earlier. I'm like, do I just have a problem about like stories about being at sea because I also hated The Old Man in the Sea. I read that in high school, though. Like, absolutely hated it. Just thought it was such a boring book and so weird of the old man just, Madeline, come rub my hand for me. Well, I'll remember that of like having this the boy having to rub his hand for him.
I've not read that one, so
don't. I mean, I don't even remember anything about it. I just remember how much I hated it. But then it was fun when we had to do the audio project and we got that one. So we did The Elderly Man in the Ocean. And that's why I played the voice of like, I'm the elderly man. And I made fun of the fact of how much he wanted his hand rubbed. But yeah, he takes on a skiff and he has like a young boy that goes with him out into the water. But then he kept getting hand cramps and his name was Manolin. I don't even remember what the old man's name was. But anyway, just think, but do I just hate ocean books? I like pirate stuff. Stories generally. I like those concepts, but so many of them are just so boring. I was telling Jay, I was asking her if she had read Moby Dick too, and she said that she had in college, but she was also one of the things she said the best part is how much they say spermaceti, and she will never stop laughing at. But she also said that picking.
Go ahead.
So, a book called Picking Moby Dick is so funny. What's next? The Bible?
No. But speaking of spermaceti, this is the part of the book that a lot of people, they're like, oh, there's gay, like erotic stuff in Moby Dick. And besides the part where he's like, we slept together like husband and wife. In the
and it said like in his culture that like now we are married.
Yeah. He did say that. He did. Yeah. So like half the time when someone says, there's eroticism, there's a homoerotic stuff going on in this classic literature or whatever, I'm like, is there really? And then when I read it, I'm like, that's gay as fuck.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, there is.
There's that sonnet by Will Shakespeare that is so gay. And I was like, everyone always told me he was gay until all you had to do was read me this one sonnet and I would have agreed with you. But you guys just kept saying, take my word for it. But yeah, this is the part that most people remember. It's told, people call it the milk and sperm of human kindness section of the book. They've gotten some spermaceti, and some of it's crystallized, so they have to like squeeze it to make it liquid again. And so Ishmael is squeezing it, and it was like, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze all the morning long. I squeezed that sperm till I myself almost melted into it. I squeezed that sperm till a strange sort of insanity came over me, and I found myself unwittingly squeezing my collaborators' hands in it, mistaking their hands for the gentle globules. Such an abounding, affectionate, friendly, loving feeling did this avocation beget, that at last I was continually squeezing their hands and looking up into their eyes sentimentally, as much as to say, oh, my dear fellow beings, why should we longer cherish any social acerbities or know the slightest ill humor or envy? Come, let us squeeze hands all round. Nay, let us all squeeze ourselves into each other. Let us squeeze ourselves universally into the very milk and sperm of kindness. He's literally squeezing another man's hand.
Yeah.
In what looks like sperm.
Like, they are just all men on this boat, so it's like being in prison and you have some urges and companionship, so
I know that, like, we read that part out loud during class and everyone in class is just dying of laughter. Like no one is taking it seriously, and it's like you can't tell us that this is not like a joke, right? And because and I'm pretty certain that Melville is trying to make the reader laugh at that point. And he's like, isn't this funny? And it's like, yes, it is funny, thank you. Because most of this book is dry. It's so
I want to think now too about Nathaniel Hawthorne when he's like reading it later on. He's just like, the symbolism. This isn't what we talked about.
Yeah, and by the way, Melville was in love with Hawthorne as an artist. Like, he loved his work so much. He actually published an anonymous letter like lauding Nathaniel Hawthorne's work so much and Hawthorne and his wife were like, yeah, it was pretty gay. Hawthorne and his wife were like, "Oh, that's so sweet. I love that." And then Hawthorne found out that Melville wrote it, and he's like, "God damn it!"
Oh, that guy again?
Yeah, he was creeped out by Melville. He did not like him. He did not want him around. He was like, he met him one time on that walk, and then Melville became obsessed. And he was like, "Jesus Christ, will this?"
He wasn't obsessed before that?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Yeah, it sounds like he was in love.
And it's just so funny to me that he Hawthorne hated him so much. And I have read several I've read several of Hawthorne's short stories and the Starlit Letter, and he's much more like, take me seriously, I'm a pretentious jackass kind of attitude. And he does symbolism hardcore, like the Black Veil, the Starlit A. And I don't like his work that much. I don't think it's that good because he takes himself too seriously.
Too pretentious. Okay.
Yeah, but there's what they said in his obituary, Melville's obituary when he died in 1891. This is an actual quote. "Even his own generation has long thought him dead."
What?
Yeah, like he stopped working.
Oh, they're like, oh, he was still alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Moby Dick was dedicated to Nathaniel Hawthorne, actually. And yeah, like Hawthorne was really uncomfortable with how much Melville liked him.
Look at this painting of Herman's mom.
Oh God!
The mom.
That's not a man in a dress.
It absolutely is a man in a dress. They look like, I mean, like this one could look more like a woman too. They're just being father and mother, like that.
Oh my God! Yeah, Melville's parents trans confirmed.
Yeah. I can't look away. It's 100%. I mean, like, just so much about the facial features just look male.
I know, the giant nose, like that, and look how big her arm is. Like, it's so big. She looks so beefy.
I'm hoping that maybe she's actually very beautiful, and the artist Ezra Ames is just like, I'm just gonna make this bitch look ugly.
I don't like you.
Yeah. Terrible artist. I'm very curious as to her reaction when she saw it, if that's accurate, or like, even if that is accurate, like, hey, can you not make it accurate? Like, paint me prettier.
Paint me prettier. Yeah, really. Jesus, that would be
awful. It broke my brain.
She looks so disturbing.
Yeah, I need to look this up and see. Was she this ugly?
Was she really this ugly?
Not very many great matches. Okay, report the often ugly corporeality of Melville's line. Nope. All right. Apparently, no one else is talking about his mom
and how ugly she is.
Oh wait, is this a photo of her? Okay, let's see. Can I open this up more? Oh, all right. Man, it opened up further.
It looks like the same picture, only in black and white.
But she doesn't look as bad. Like, yeah, she does have a big nose and stuff too, but like that looks like a more feminine face though, compared to that painting.
It could be that whoever did the restoration on the painting, like, made her look ugly.
Is this still a painting, or is this a camera? Like, is this a photo that they did? I don't remember. No, when cameras became a thing.
Well, daguerreotypes were the first like photos people got of themselves, but not everyone got one.
And this was 1820. Various permanent camera-produced photographs were created in 1820s. So okay, so I don't. Yeah, maybe that was an actual image of her then, because she doesn't look as bad. But all right, well, still, that's gonna haunt my dreams.
That Melville's mom looks
The
so
painting,
mannish.
yeah. And like the dad looked a little bit more feminine.
Yeah, softer features around her face.
Yeah, but I guess that works for them too, though, because I like that where what is it, like a Freudian type of psychology where like the opposites attract. So I'd say that like, oh, if you're more manly or more womanly, then you would still attract each other that way. Anywho, anything else that I can think of on Moby Dick? I'm glad that it's over. I'm glad to have like read a classic though too, that I can now speak to it and
you can tell people you've read Moby Dick.
Yeah, and to warn them not to. I'm curious about Bartleby though, because like if it's or even just other writings, like was he a better writer in other things and this was just a fluke? And I want to know if he was like, really, Moby Dick is what I'm going to be best known for, that one. Okay.
I know. Literary people like it because of the symbolism thing and everything. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think it's a literary symbol. It's literally just like Ahab thinks it represents all the evil in the world. Like,
I don't think it actually was supposed to, though. Like,
no,
because if it were, it's just poorly written. Then, if it actually was supposed to, like, it should have come around more often and like been some like, at least like in a way of like showing more like foreshadowing or looming or like something about like bad stuff happen. Here's this omen every time we see it, and like these terrible things happen, and maybe it's the cause of it. Like something, I don't know, that like for just something more than it showing up like at the very end and being like, huh? Oh,
yeah. I know. I feel like Ahab more than the whale is evil, like because Ahab is selfish and obsessed and reckless.
But then do I also consider that evil when if you're insane? Like, do you blame them as much for like it's not their fault that they're insane? So it's just like an unintentional evil.
I don't know. I have like having read this, I feel like Ahab is in enough of his right mind to know that he is endangering other people's lives.
What if you're in your right mind enough to like acknowledge that you're crazy? Like, okay, you've got some amount of willpower. You can go out. You go out on your little boat on your own and do this, and let us not be around.
Yeah, yeah. But I definitely feel like he is responsible. I do not.
He's the bad guy in the story.
Yes, I 100% believe he is the bad guy. Like, I don't know that Melville wants us to think that or not. That's harder for me to decide. But I definitely 100% think that Ahab is a bad guy.
Moby Dick certainly was not the bad guy in this story. Like,
not in it enough to be the bad guy.
I'm trying to think of like another example for it that you're just. Again, I would just stick with the moon, where like you're saying like the moon is the bad guy there, especially like, oh, the tide ebbs and flows and it's doing this maliciously toward me. But I don't think that a whale acting in self-defense of being attacked is going to like it should be considered a bad guy.
No, I just don't. I don't see it as being anything other than just a whale.
I'd say that it was like what's like a hindrance or like a bad guy in the perspective of the people who are drowning in the ship, though, like, and because like, well, you're negatively impacting my life by drowning me, kind of thing, though, in the same sense that predators that come in and attack here, like I don't blame them for being predators that attack our chickens and stuff, though, too, like, but I will defend against them, though, that like this is, but I'm not like angry that this is how you exist.
Yeah, I know. And this book is like it's an argument, essentially. Is this man versus nature, man versus the supernatural, or man versus self? I argue that it's man versus self, confused as man versus the supernatural.
the only supernatural thing I'd say is the prophecy type thing, that like, okay, was this true? Was Ahab just really kind of like, yeah, like this, like, I guess things were pretty specific though too. The hemp, and then like even the vehicle like, okay, I guess that maybe that was a stretch of like the vehicle of the hearse, and like, okay, this whale is the vehicle, but like the hemp thing of you know being strangled and stuff, though, like, how did he know that? So if anything, that the prophecy thing was the most supernatural. Was the whale?
Yeah.
There was ever maybe like that is just how powerful, like when you have like 50 tons of animal, that like one whack of a tail is probably gonna end you.
Yeah, I know. Well, and even that quote that I gave, where it gave him such a whacking, like it's like a thwack. I think that's what it was, a thwack. Like it's just a really big, very powerful animal. And like I said, I think this is more man versus self, that Ahab is crazy, and like allowing this obsession to undermine all rationality and what would be considered probably like divine order as well. Like from the perspective of a Christian, I think what he's doing is wrong. So like, because there's a lot of Christianity throughout this novel, and I would say that like even Starbuck brings it up, that it's something like this is like against God's will essentially. And so to me, I feel like what Ahab believes and what people think and if you believe that Ahab is right about the whale, that the whale is all representation of evil, I think you're wrong, essentially. Is what it is.
Like, in what way he didn't never even explain anything. Yeah, it took his leg. Okay, that's not a representation of all evil. What you were antagonizing it by trying to kill it, though, and it took your leg. Like, you can't say that that's evil if I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna keep poking at this bear and then it attacked me, and like, oh, it's evil for doing. No, like,
I know, if you're hunting wolves and the wolves get the better of you, they're not evil, they're just wolves. Like, I just don't see
like,
this.
If you're minding your own business and the wolves attack, like, they're still wolves, but I can understand it a little bit more that to you they are evil because they're so I can get it there. But when you're the one instigating it, I was like, I don't have sympathy for you. That's on you.
Well, I mean, and whaling was a dangerous endeavor. It really was. So to me, this idea that, oh my God, this whale took my leg, this completely unheard of thing that wherein whales violently defend themselves against whaling. Oh wait, they do that all the time. Like, no, that's not unusual. That's not evil. That's just nature. Like, things that are alive defend themselves when attacked. That's normal. And that doesn't make them evil. And things that are hungry attack other things to eat them. Again, not really evil, just nature. That's just life. And so to me, I just don't see, like, whenever they try to act like, oh, the whale is evil, this whale is evil, I'm like, these whales none of these whales that you've mentioned, including Moby Dick, have done anything outside of the realm of normal whale behavior.
Only if they're like, oh, it's escaping, and then like, wait, it stopped, it's turning around, and it's kind of like, yeah, because maybe it wasn't like, it's sometimes that you maneuver in a way that like, okay, I need to dodge for a minute to avoid this, but I am going to come and defend again because I want to stop this thing from continuing to attack. This is still a threat, so I want to end it. But like, I'm big, it takes me a minute to like turn around and like angle myself to like come back. And
I know they're like, it went so far away from us. Yeah, it's also like 50 yards long. What did you expect?
Yeah, you can't have a zero turn mower. Like, all right, well, I have to meet it. So it probably just takes it a second that like it goes distant, like that 50 yards is nothing for it.
Yeah. No, like I definitely feel like people read too much into the whale itself, like Ahab, and I'm like, I think if you read this as one man's destructive obsession through his insanity gets a bunch of people killed, yeah. I think you have the correct reading.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely what I got out of it.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else to say, we can end this.
God, no, I want it to be not the stream itself, but I just want to be done with Moby Dick as a
You
concept.
never have to read it again. You're
Yeah.
done. You did it.
I'm gonna continue to be annoyed by stuff for a while though, and I need to let it go. Like, all right, let me start getting into other things so that way we can let go.
Hopefully you enjoy Pride and Prejudice better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only a few chapters in, but I definitely are. It already seems like, oh, this is fun and sad. Like, I love Mr. Bennett, and just like just the dad is just like sassy and stuff though. So just so far it seems like it'll be a fun read, and I think I might like it more audiobook than me like reading it anyway. So
read out loud, it's even funnier than just reading it.
The one girl in LibriVox, I think she's doing, I'm not sure if she's actually just for real British, but she's doing a good job of like, I'm speaking now as a father, I'm speaking this way, and I'm more annoying because I'm the mom. Like, so she's.
I know that mom is Mrs. Bennett is so fucking annoying. Yeah. She's hilarious.
Like, oh God. You're
like that. One of my favorite parts is when she gives this really long speech, and the dad's just sitting there, and then she like goes to another, and he's like, "Oh God, there's more." Like you can tell, he's like, "Jesus, she's still talking." It's like, you're married to this woman, man.
It's only like 11 hours long too. I'm like, oh, if I can get through Moby Dick's 25 hours, well, it was less than that. It was going more quickly, but this girl reads at a more normal space, so I'm like, I might not speed it up though, because her performance is good as is. So, but it's 11 hours, so I'm like, I could probably manage that over the next month.
So it's Pride and Prejudice, February 21st, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, back on Alex's Book Circle. You could be on that live stream with us if you read Pride and Prejudice and ask to be on the live stream.
What's the following book?
The following book, yes, it's in the description of this live stream. I actually have the entire year down there. It's called Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I know. I picked it because it sounded interesting, and I like Paul Tremblay's work. We watched a movie that he wrote the story for, Knock at the Cabin.
Okay, yeah, like the name sounded really familiar. Okie doke.
Yeah. So I was like, horror movie, like for the title of a novel, that is a little bit confusing, but yeah. Yeah. It's like, thank you for that. But yeah, horror movie. I've not read it yet, so it'll be a new experience for me. And then, but yeah, if you look in the description, I list all of the novels.
I see that. Yeah. Okay.
And we are going to do this year the next Magician's book by Lev Grossman, because I really love that series. We also are doing my favorite novel, House of Leaves, this year.
On October? Yeah, that's right. I need to. I need to stop doing all these shows first after March, then I can like yeah. I'm trying to do the solo leveling book, and I showed you that one before too, and it's enormous and super tiny print. So
yeah, I also chose a mystery novel for December to continue on with the idea of doing mysteries every December. So if you don't get The Big Sleep done in December, I get to try to give you the plot. And the killer is.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't make any promises on me being able to keep up with reading. Especially, it depends on the audio. Like these were easier because they're out of copyright, so they're on LibriVox. But then finding other audiobooks too, and not having to pay for things will be that's a little bit more difficult, because it's also hard for me to just sit and read though. But it's been nice when I'm like, oh, I'm cleaning or cooking, and I'm listening to the audiobook as I do that. So that's been helpful. And
I chose a lot of classics this year, so there should be like 4 or 5
Gatsby,
that you should be able to do through audiobook on LibriVox. So that might help.
Yeah. Which is good too, for me to be able to be like, hey, I've read these classics now.
Yeah. Some of these I've not read myself, so they'll be new for both of us. In fact, if I'm looking at, I've not read for this year. I've never read Horror Movie, Lady Chatterley's Lover, Little Women, or The Big Sleep. All the rest of these novels I've read before.
Okay. I figured you've read Dune. Which I was thinking was like those
6.
movies and miniseries and whatever, like because we talked about that's also.
Yeah, I know.
Write that down.
I've read all 6 of the Dune books, actually. All right. Well, in the links below, as we just said, the schedule for the entirety of the year is in the description. So if you are interested in being on any of these live streams, read the book and let me know. And
I have read Great Gatsby. I think we had to read it in high school.
Yeah, almost everyone has had to read The Great Gatsby in high school. It's a big thing.
Well,
in the links below, there's a link to my Discord, to my gaming channel, which I'm going to be live on tonight, to Beverly's channel, The Dim Side, to buy my novel, and to donate to me. There's also a link to my locals and is the tip link there? Yes, it is. There's now, like, Rumble has Bitcoin tipping that you can do, or and some sort of Digicoin. I think there's another one in there, but yeah, you can you can tip over there, and not that I expect anyone to actually do such a thing. I was like, I'll set it up. It was a pain in the ass, though. I'm like, no one's donating me money on that, but I went through the hell of setting it up. All right.
You better give money.
Yeah. They're like, pay me for the stress of having to deal with
Yeah.
All right. Well, Beverly and I are not certain when we're going to be back on her channel.
Yeah, it depends on the weather. Speaking of weather being like, a destructive thing, though, but it depends how bad these next couple of days are. Our rehearsals might get canceled, or then we wouldn't have enough for the show, so the show might get pushed back to the fall. So we'll see. But I am working on Jessica Jones at the moment. So
all right, so we're both on that. All right, so we might be on her channel on Thursday, or it might be the next week. It kind of depends on the situation with weather. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And